Welcome back to the channel. Today we're giving you guys our Awkward Chats podcast preview.
And we're going to be talking about whether or not we're deciding to go to Sweethearts Night this year.
Yeah.
And if you like this kind of content, make sure to subscribe.
Come get lost with us. So Sweethearts Night is an event that is put on over at Disneyland. It's technically a after hours event under that umbrella of Disney. It's not like a Oogie Boogie Bash or Mickey's Not So Scary or Mickey's Very Merry Christmas. It's a after hours party that Walt Disney World typically just calls after hours. But over at Disneyland, they like to do special themed ones, and Sweethearts Night is one of those.
Yep.
And we went last year for 2023 because we thought, why not? Valentine's Day, we've not done an after hours event over at Disneyland. It's got to be great. They were just about to open Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroads. We're like, oh, maybe we'll get to ride it. None of that happened.
Yeah, so we went to another event over at Disneyland at DCA for an after hours. So this is our second after hours event that we did over at DCA. I consider them both the same. I don't care. And they're not like, so from what we've seen in Orlando for their after hours events, now they do have an overlay and it does have a theme typically in Disneyland and that the West Coast basically. But on the East Coast, at least you get like free snacks and beverages and stuff at their nights. You don't get this at Disneyland.
Nope.
All right. And the one thing about the Disneyland stuff is it's 100% focused on Instagram. It's Instagrammable moments. I mean, I used to do a volunteer program in Orlando, and we had volunteers with some of the executives that used to work at Disney World. And one of the things that they said before we even left was where they were transitioning their social media focus, their event focus was going to be on Instagrammable moments is what they called them. And so this is clearly how these events are set up. They're just like these Instagrammable, you take a picture, you move on, you get some rare characters, you get some rare backgrounds, but that's kind of it.
Yeah, that's pretty much the majority of what that event was cardboard cutouts, long lines, and
Yes, long lines.
they were supposed to have like food, like Valentine themed food, but I'm gonna be honest, we didn't even try to get the food because the lines were so long. It was a weird event.
Well, we did try. We were planning on getting something, and I don't remember what it was, but like you said, we went there and the line was over 2 hours long, and we're like, well, this event's only like 3-4 hours.
Yeah,
we're not
so
going to stand in line for two of them just to get some.
Yeah.
I think it was like a pastry that was like shaped in the shape of a heart. It wasn't anything.
We were so bummed, and I think the initial bummer, so like any Disney after hours, you can get in early, which we got there a little bit early. We didn't get there like with the full 3 hours before the park closed. We didn't quite do that. We got there maybe like an hour or so before the park closed. So we got in and we went back to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad, and we honestly didn't want to ride the ride at that point. We were like, we don't want to ride. We just want to go walk around to town. Like that's all we want to do. We don't even care about the ride. We just want to walk around. Couldn't go back there. The only way you could go back there was if you bought a lightning lane to ride Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad, and it was not going to be open for the event.
Which is weird because they had just done a refurb on the land, right? And the Runaway Railroad had technically opened like a month or something earlier, a month or two earlier, which is weird. They didn't open up the rest of the land when they finished the refurb. They wanted to wait to open up the land, and it was done because when we went back there, it was completely finished. They didn't open the land till March. So they actually waited till after this
like
event
a month later,
to open it. And it basically saying that, well, you got a ticket now, but you're going to have to buy another ticket if you want to come back and see it, which was really disappointing to us.
So we were kind of on the fence. We're like, okay, well, this event is getting off to a shitty start. But we ultimately made the decision to buy a lightning lane because we were like, you know what? Let's just do it. We don't know when we're going to come back to Disneyland. Let's just do it. So we did. We bought it, went back there, rode the ride, had fun. We got a shitty spot on the train, which was another double bummer.
Yeah, there was no one on the ride, and yet we still got in the last car, in the last seat, and yet there was no one else other than one person in the front. And it was like, why did you space this out this much?
So that was like double bummer.
Yeah.
And then we get out of the ride, and there's just tons of people walking around Toontown.
Yeah. Well, not even just Toontown. I would say at the event, it had the same capacity that a regular park day would have, in my opinion. I didn't notice any lower crowds. Everything was about the same wait times for rides and stuff. It was so weird. It felt like just being there during the day, except for it was at night with these random characters and photo areas.
Yeah, and I think the triple bummer was that we kind of figured out later on in the party that they were just letting people walk back there after they gave us grief, telling us we couldn't walk back there. And it just kind of sullied the whole event for us because, again, like we just wanted to go back there and walk around. That was literally all we wanted to do. We didn't care about riding the ride. If we got on, great, cool, whatever. But like that wasn't our goal. Like we weren't trying to do that. We just wanted to go back there, maybe take some pictures, a little bit of video, and being like, hey, like we're at the whatever. And they were just like hard no. And then a few hours later, when the party started, after telling us they weren't going to do that for the party.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
And that was just really upsetting. And then when we got back there and people, because they were like, oh, well, you can't linger. Like you can go ride the ride, but you have to leave.
Right. Yeah.
Was also another thing that they told us. And then there were tons of people just roaming around. Like nobody was policing them. Nobody was like, you have to leave. They were just letting it happen. So clearly there was no communication between the people that were gatekeeping, literally gatekeeping Toontown from day guests and people coming in for the party to the people inside it. And then even later on that night. So
the people have to question too. I know you were going to say, well, you know, if they let you into Toontown, then they go right into the ride. That's not how it works. So you had to check in outside of Toontown. Then you walked inside of Toontown. There was people in front of the ride, and then you had to check in again to actually get into the queue for the ride. So they could have just let people tour around there. Yeah. It didn't make any difference.
Yeah, it made absolutely no difference whatsoever. But that was like the biggest.
That was our first. That was our first 30 minutes prior to really the party starting, and it was like, wow, this is really off on a bad foot.
Yeah, and it kind of just put us in a weird mood for the rest of the night. And what else did we do? Did we ride any?
Yeah, we rode like rides. We rode a couple of the rides.
We did Matterhorn.
We walked the whole park and saw that. We saw all of the interactions. It just became like we would look at like, okay, so they had for instance, a Lady in the Tramp one, which was cute. I thought, oh, that's cute. He's sitting behind the pasta bowl. It has a little share, It has a little share. It has a little cutout of the waiter guy in the back, and then you have like the nice little layout, so it looks like it's in the movie. Cool. The line for that was at least 2 hours, if not 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And like even the rides, with all these people waiting in these lines, the rides were still 30 to 45-minute waits. It was like, I don't understand. This is supposed to be a smaller event. It's supposed to be like fun. To me, it's the exact same capacity that the park normally has. So it was like, I'm not sure why we want to do this. And come to find out, between the year before and even this year, it's all the same stuff. They're not doing anything new. They're doing the same overlays down Main Street. They're doing the same character meet and greets. They're doing the same photo ops. So it's like, in the same foods. Why would I? Why would I do that?
Yeah, and then the fireworks show was just kind of.
Oh, that was the fireworks show.
It was like not even 10 minutes. It was maybe 6 or 7 minutes long.
In fairness, Disneyland's fireworks don't seem to live up to Disney World's though.
Agreed. I would agree.
So.
And
it's because it's off a major highway. That's probably why. I'm not blaming Disney. I'm just saying it just really doesn't.
It's a different vibe out there. And then like the projections were cute on the sides of Main Street. There were aspects of it that were cute, but again, it goes back to I can't take a photo op because I would have had to stand in line from the time that I got there. And I understand if you are a local, like a Southern California local to Disneyland, then yes, you go to the parks all the time or most of the time. So for you to go and stand in lines and that's what you want to do, no hate against you, but you know, that's clearly their priority. And that they do that.
100%.
They do 100%. Yep. Southern California Disney pass holders, that's what they do. And kudos to you guys because you've been to the park. And we're like that with Walt Disney World to an extent. When we go to Walt Disney World, we don't have to ride everything. We don't have to do everything because we know that park. We know what we've experienced. And even when we were living as locals, we would just go pop in for this or that. Like we don't have to hit everything. But as somebody going to Disneyland to that event who's not a pass holder, who's only been to Disneyland 3 or 4 times, obviously maybe one line not being 3 freaking hours long.
Yeah, like set up the same photo thing in different places to try to cut down on the lines. Have multiple characters out there meeting. You know, have multiple, like, you know, they do. Jack Skellington, he's in a room. There's like 4 different ones of him in there to cut down on the time you're waiting in line. None of those things were done. And you can't say it's because they hadn't done it before, because they had. They had done it the previous years.
Yeah.
So nothing here was new. It's all the same.
So
and yet
yeah.
they're still making the same mistakes.
So we obviously have February at home and we're down and we're off. And we had the discussion, do we go make a trip over to Disneyland for the event? Because we did last year and we had a good time. It just wasn't as good as I thought it should be for what we paid.
Yeah, and I would say we had more fun in the hotel and the stuff around Disneyland. We had more fun there than we did at Sweethearts Night.
Yeah. Yeah, we made our own magic.
Right. Yeah, which is Disney's new slogan, if you all don't know, is make your own magic. Pay us $300 a ticket, but make your own magic.
Make your own magic, kids. But yeah, we had a great time in the hotel that we got. It was fantastic. It was the JW Marriott over by Disneyland. And honestly, if you're looking for a nice splurge, it was a nice hotel. Nice hotel.
Yeah.
It was chilly too. It was a chilly week. Just like it is currently this week. It is cold and rainy. I don't know what's happening, but the skies have opened up and decided to give us rain.
Yes. Thank you, Vegas.
Which ironically tonight is the Zach Bryan concert in Las Vegas and my friend's going with her boyfriend. And I told her, I was like, you know what? It was raining our last Zach Bryan concert. Tell him he needs to stop coming to Las Vegas. He keeps bringing the rain. And we stood outside in the pouring rain for that. But yeah, it's been an interesting weather pattern here. So yeah, we just decided not to go to Sweethearts Night this year.
We can contemplate some of the other ones like 90s Night or even Star Wars, but it just doesn't have enough. Like I'd rather just go during the day, have the full park day. You're going to have the same crowds. Yeah. So what's the benefit other than seeing some stuff at night that has lights on? Yeah,
I would rather go in the middle of the week, try to get it on a low crowd as much as I possibly could, and explore it to the best of my ability than feel like I'm with a bunch of other influencers who just want to take a picture.
Yeah, and pretend like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing. This is so good. So good. I give it 5 out of 5. Whatever the hell they're giving it.
5 out of 5 cuties.
Cuties. There's a guy we watch that gives cues. I don't understand it.
We watched one video of his. We don't watch him.
Yeah, we don't watch him. We watched a video of him, and it was confusing. And I don't understand the rating system for people. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But hey, if that's what you like to do, keep doing it. If it works for you, it doesn't work for me.
So if you're watching us on YouTube on Lost Girl in Tomorrowland, thank you. And if you like this video, hit that thumbs up.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button.
And ring that notification bell so you get notified when we do at least 3 videos a week.
And we'll come and get you guys for the next one.
Ain't that the truth, baby Ruth? And all those on Awkward Chats podcast. We'll be right back.